Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Rant Bollox. We're reviewing Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 3, The Long Night. It was on a couple of nights ago, so we've had some days to take it in. This was obviously the big 1 hour, 30-minute episode, and it was the big-ass fight at Winterfell. I guess we could just jump straight into it. I know you've got a lot of thoughts, Paul.
Yeah. Is this the longest episode they've ever had?
This is the longest, and also, from what I hear, it's the longest battle to ever be recorded on TV or even on film. I think on film because it beats Lord of the Rings. So, like, there's scenes just for how long it goes on for, as we know. It was a big one.
Yeah, it's like a full hour of battle.
Yeah, it's pretty epic.
Yeah, I got to give it that. For a TV show, like, that's pretty epic.
Yeah, they had. They've got six episodes this season, and I know the first two were 50, like the usual. They've obviously saved a lot of budget for this one, but an hour and a half. It was like watching a movie, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, like it just kept rolling on, and you just thought, okay, now what's going to happen? And it was very well choreographed. Like technically, it's like this is the start of the battle. Then we're going to do this part and this part, and it's just like, oh, okay, this. It felt like a battle. It didn't feel very organized, but it was clearly, organized in how they shot it.
Sure. And it was done by the same guy that did Battle of the Bastards as well, wasn't it? I think you were saying that.
Yeah, I think he's just the dude they go to now. It's like, yeah, he can blow stuff up.
Yeah. Again, it's just like every time these episodes come on, we're super hyped for them. This one was, no change there. We knew it was going to be the big battle. We've been waiting for this for a while. The Night King's on his way. And yeah, how did we start? Like they're all lining up, and then Witch Lady like lighting the swords on fire. Like it was just the tension was crazy, wasn't it?
The thing that it's like I was saying with the second episode that's the episode that kind of builds it for this episode. And this one they had the moment of it's the Helm's Deep. Helm's Deep's going to get a lot of comparisons, but it's like all the women and children are down underneath in the crypt, and they put Tyrion down there, and they put Sansa. Arya gives Sansa a knife and says go down there and all that, and it's just everything's on the line. And then you can see, okay, they're marching Bran into the whatever that is, the old tree area, that sacred tree.
Yeah.
And yeah, it finally feels like it's building. And then it's just when you stand back and look at it, it's just a lot of people looking off into blackness.
I know. And
they're all just staring off into the night.
I felt like at times they kind of strung that out a little bit. I know it was only the beginning of the episode, but I'm like, oh, no wonder this is an hour and a half. I've just looked at Jorah, just look off into the darkness for, I'd say 30 seconds, just held on his frame,
Yeah.
But, it all did help towards it because the thing I liked about that was a lot of those guys on the front line there hadn't seen the Whites or the White Walkers, so they didn't really know what to expect. But, like, the Dothraki, they're crazy guys, so they're just like, we're going to fuck people up, And then, but they don't really know what to expect, and they probably were starting to hear, like, the grumblings from the zombies and stuff. So, yeah, like when they went off on their horses, that was an excellent scene, by the way. Just like with the light going into the darkness, and just each of the lights just going out. That was just awesome. I loved how that was shot. One thing I do have to mention just right now before we really get into this was I had really bad banding issues, color issues. I don't know if you had the same thing or if you've read about this, but I was watching it on Crave, and thanks for delivering the Game of Thrones. But the actual blacks and everything, and even on our OLED TVs, it was super bad. Like when they were, and that scene in particular, I remember them racing off into the distance, and it wasn't. I wasn't looking at black. I was like looking at a rainbow of grays. Did you have a similar issue?
I think I was pretty much okay. I watched it straight from the HBO channel.
Okay,
so I didn't see anything like that, so it was pretty good. Like, there's some stuff where you could maybe wonder if the thing was off, but generally I was just like, no, this looks pretty good. In fact, if anything, I'm just like, it's a bit too black. It's very dark.
Interesting, because, I think the whole episode is quite dark. I just wanted to bring that up because that kind of put a downer on it for me at times. especially with someone who's like a 4K enthusiast and likes clarity. But I do understand that it streams and there's hundreds of thousands of people, streaming this. But yeah, like that scene particularly was awesome. Them coming in, but I guess I don't know if you want to go through some of your initial thoughts, and then we can kind of talk about specific scenes. But what was your overall vibe? Because I know from episode 1 and 2, 1 you were a little bit let down, 2 you're happier about, but we still weren't super satisfied by either of them. So
I think that they're right, and they had to give a buffer between this and the end of the last season. You couldn't go straight into this episode, but
no way.
I'm still convinced that it's like 1 and 2 should have been a longer episode, and then got into this one. It's just, but there's a lot in there to unpack, and I think having an extra day to think about it, because we were going to do it yesterday and we did it today. I'm just like, the scene with the Dothraki is a great example because it's lots of fun. It's got this cool moment where all the swords go up and then they ride off, and then the lights just start flickering out, and you're just like, oh my god. And they took out the entire Dothraki, and it's a great visual. But then in my mind, I think about it, I'm like, why did they ride off into the darkness in the first place? Like, from a military point of view, like that's pretty stupid, guys. You're going charging into the dark against something you've never fought before. And you're just like, all right, it's cool, but it's Hollywood.
I do agree. I did hear, and I don't know if this is true, but I did hear it could be a tactic because back in those times, sometimes they did that as a tactic to divert the enemy. So like if the Dothraki did actually cause a scene up there and actually do some damage, then they might spread their troops or something like that. But because they're undead and they didn't know that the undead are just absolute maniacs, the Dothraki are just kind of, they're almost like Hulks. They just run in and just go do, But that's what I've heard is like that's what it was, a tactic they were trying to do. So they're like, oh, maybe they can get through the middle of them, and then half the group might split off to the left or something like that.
Yeah, and it's also, like I said, it's Hollywood in that the whole episode is very good, and it's got, obviously, technically, it's like 10 out of 10. It's the best visual battle you've ever seen on TV ever. It matches any movie. It's like you're up there with Lord of the Rings level of kind of thing. That's a high compliment. But for me, it's still this thing of, there's a lot of weird questions. There's a lot of strange moments. There's a lot of stuff that I know that they couldn't stay in the battle for budget reasons or whatever, and they have to spend their time elsewhere. But there's just a lot of things that don't sit well. And usually I'd forgive them, but I'm like, this is the last season, and you took an extra, 7-8 months to write this and film it.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be this many loose threads and hanging points and pointless scenes and wasted moments. And it's like, this one, like I said, it's great. I'm going to give it props for the fight and everything that happened. But there's a lot in this that just bugs me that I just can't get over now that I've had a couple of days to think about it. Like,
well, let's start getting into those then. What are some of those things? Like,
where does Bran piss off to when he's warging for 20 minutes?
Why did he piss off as well? I mean,
I know
he is
it's just
an ultimate loser, isn't he?
He's
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, like he's a loser. You're right, and it's just you've waited and waited, and then he does this, and Theon's trying to fight him off and save him some more time, and he does nothing in the end. Like, nothing. Just sits there giving his weird Bran look as the guy walks up to him. And I know he's in a wheelchair, but there was no point to him warging, and he just did it. And then I was just like, okay, that's something I'm going to let slide. But then, obviously we're in spoilers, when Arya kills the White Walker, and this is it's gonna come back in episode 4. I'll either be really angry or I'll be okay with this. If that's the end of the Night King and the whole threat, that is shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. I just, if they come back in the next episode and there was another way and you can't kill him that way or he'll reincarnate, that's what they need to do. Because if you're gonna have 8 years of a show built around the three-eyed raven, the old ones, Hodor saving them, the children of the forest, the whites, this endless terrible thing. The dragon blows up the wall. They're coming. Jon has to get everything. Everything built this into a myth, this great final battle. And it all ends because Arya is a sneaky little bitch and she stabs him with a little dagger.
I do agree. He's had way too many scenes, way too much showtime to have this little to do with it. And I'm very, very surprised in these first 3 episodes he hasn't done anything but literally sit there and stare at Jaime Lannister in episode 1,
yeah.
and then the other 2 just sit by this tree, basically. It's a well-paid check for him, to be honest.
It is,
but
it's him and the Night King. Is this it? Like, is this what we've been watching for all these years?
I do
is
agree.
That
yeah,
the two of them looking at each other in the snow?
And it's just this whole build-up. I know it's Game of Thrones and Cersei on the throne right now is obviously the big thing as well. But like we've been talking about these White Walkers since episode 1, and did it just get resolved in one episode for an hour and a half? And the Night King, like this ultimate dude, just got stabbed in the chest and went. Like that would be disgraceful if that was to happen.
The reason that's also super shit, if that's the way it's going, because we don't know what's going to happen next week. But the scene that's before that, literally the scene before that, is him getting attacked by a dragon and laughing it off. You can't do that. You can't have the dragon blow this huge ball of fire over this guy and he just walks it off and then he gets killed by a dagger the very next moment.
Yeah.
It's also, just that's terrible writing. Like, if that's the way they're doing it, that's woeful to take 14 months off and that's the best you could do to end this 8-year saga. It's terrible.
Yeah. What I was going to say is how can you see them fixing it? Like, if they were to do that in the 4th or 5th, I mean, 5th is cutting it a bit short, but like he comes, like everyone leaves for Cersei, but like he actually resurrects himself somehow, and he's
like I would assume that. I remember Bran saw the original way he was created, or he created one of the White Walkers, and there was like a circle of stones. I might be misremembering it, but I remember there was like a ceremony, and that's where he came from. If he just like grows back up out of that circle of stones, then that might be, the thing.
Interesting. Yeah.
Like there's, you have to kill him in a particular way to fully end him.
Yeah. We did talk about it, and we did say that it could be over in this 3rd episode, but just in this way, him just getting stabbed. And also, the thing that bugged me was that he was just walking the whole time. It was like he was going for a Sunday stroll. And this kind of goes with it as well. It's like, did you notice that the whites were running towards the army? When we eventually saw them, but the entire 7 seasons they've been walking. So now I know they're going into battle, but still, it's like, if you guys were running this entire time, you are zombies. You don't get tired. You probably could have got there in half the time, by the way. But those are like silly details, but still.
But I did like, to be fair to them, that mix between a massive war and then a horror film was good. Like, there's a lot of great things that they've done with the whites, and in this episode especially, you could get bits of Dawn of the Dead, and then there was World War Z. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. Them clambering up the walls, or they're sacrificing themselves to make a bridge, and there's a lot of that cool moments in it. And then when he resurrects the whole army that had just died trying to stop him, including the little princess girl, Lyanna, I think her name is. Like, those are cool moments.
Yeah.
And that makes them really scary, and they're chasing Arya down and that. But yeah, it just doesn't seem like this season was written by people who'd seen the previous 7 years.
Yeah. It's becoming... I was saying earlier on to a few friends, I'm like, we're all on the hype train. Like, we definitely are, and we're all expecting great things. But and they're definitely not delivering on any of these episodes. Like, this one was like super well shot, and it was a big battle. that is what we were asking for. But what?
Yeah, I just
one
kind of
thing-
assumed you like it. Did you like it? That's not
I
just
did-
going to me being a prick. You're a prick as well.
No, I did enjoy it. So I did it. I did like it. It was very entertaining. I just think I totally agree with the Night King and the way like they just finished him off, and it's taken 7 seasons for him to get there, and he's just got stabbed. I do agree with that. One thing was with the characters. I was expecting a few more main characters maybe to die, and I didn't like the way
absolutely.
that I didn't. The one that kind of annoyed me was Jorah Mormont. At the end, he dies with Khaleesi, but I kind of wanted him to die like halfway through in a battle scene, so it meant a bit more. Like it was a bit obvious. Again, in the last episode, I was saying there's some obvious scenes what they were doing, and in this one, it's just like, oh, they've won, and he's just going to die on like a mound of them, with Khaleesi. I was expecting maybe a Jaime to fight one of the walkers, maybe he could have a massive battle of them. Maybe he doesn't die, but at least give us a battle. Those actual White Walkers didn't do anything. They literally
No, that's
didn't do
the other
anything.
thing. They walked, and that was it. They walked in the gate together.
Yeah,
and then they did nothing.
And I know people were annoyed by how Arya snuck in, and how she kind of got to the Night King. One thing that I actually kind of missed, and Leah, my wife, brought up was when I think it was episode 1 or 2, where she snuck up on Jon Snow, didn't she, in the same place? And remember, he's
the
by
first
tree,
episode,
and then she goes, "Yeah, oh, I didn't see you there," and he goes, "I'm quiet," and then I was like, "Oh yeah, that was the same area," but it's still kind of, this is the Night King. There's thousands.
But
of
they
those,
did
like,
the second
zombies.
thing. Sorry, in that episode, there's another moment that they do where Arya's fighting Brienne of Tar, not Tar. Tar's weird. She's fighting her, and she does that move.
Oh yeah, that's
where
right.
she
I
drops
remember
the
that,
dagger.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, they both have the knife to their throat, and that's like a setup and payoff. I get that. Okay, she can do this move. She's sneaky in the woods. She sneaks up and does the move in the woods on the Night King. Cool, really cool. Except it's not. That's bullshit. You've had 7 years making this some epic thing. You can't just do 2 episodes before being like, Arya's going to solve everything.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
And they had, totally agree. Is that was that the biggest thing that kind of annoyed you? Because I know that you mentioned like, oh, I've had a day to think about this. Like, I've got some rants to get off my chest.
Yeah, like I like Arya's move. It was sneaky. It was fun. She kills everybody. They built it all up, but it's just like, this is your final season. You're halfway through it. Kill some people. Make some choices. Swing for the fences. And they didn't. It's Hollywooded. It's gotten away from George R. Martin's world. And for me, I was thinking when the crypt bodies started coming out and attacking, the dead Starks were rising. I was like, oh my God, imagine if a headless Sean Bean came out now and tried to kill Sansa.
Yeah, totally.
And that was like the first thing in my head. And maybe it's because I'm a little bit fucked up.
No, we were all thinking it.
But that's the kind of thing you would want from this show. And if you think of Sean Bean, the reason this show is where it is because they took this well-known big actor, and in season 1 they chopped his head off.
Yeah, yeah.
And from then on, everyone's like, oh wow, anybody could get killed here. Anything could happen to anybody. But since like season 5, you're just like, well, Jon Snow's not dying, Cersei's not dying, Daenerys isn't dying, Jaime's probably not dying. Nobody's in danger. Nobody feels anything. Like even with the scene where Jorah is getting killed, it's like, yeah, he's going to get killed. He's like, whatever. But when they're all running at Daenerys, I'm like, there wasn't an ounce of me that was worried.
Yes, yeah, I do agree.
At the very least, they should have chopped her, given her a Rick Grimes. They should have just cut off her hand or cut off her leg, or like that would have been a great moment for me if she's swinging away and then somebody just lops her leg off. Imagine that. And then she's got one leg for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So 100%. You still have the actress. You haven't killed her, but it's like, oh, wow, that's cool. That's actually something that's going to affect one of the main people to a point.
they're playing it way too safe. Like you said, it's gone Hollywood for sure, and it does make me fear the rest of the 3 episodes and whether it is going to play it safe, even up till the Iron Throne. Like
yeah, like I don't know what they're playing it safe for. I could understand if there was another season or they're playing it out, but we all know this is the last season. We all know there's 6 episodes.
And also, they don't need to play it safe because the show's always been about, like, taking risks and also killing off characters. Like, don't be afraid to kill Jon and Jaime in that episode. It's
I would have definitely killed one of the Lannisters, either Tyrion or Jaime. I would have killed one of the second characters, like your Brienne or what's his name, the big redheaded Viking dude.
Oh yeah.
I would have killed him. Like one of them, I would have killed, or Sam, or kill a major guy, kill a second guy, kill your Jorahs, and then they kill in a few other people. The other Blackwatch guy gets killed, and the witch is now dead. Great.
Yeah, they had this massive battle, and they killed off all like the just mediocre characters, and then it was just like, well, all the main ones are still there, and and it got about halfway through or towards the end, and I was like, everyone's fine. Like when he raised the army, I was just like, well, they've already been overwhelmed. Now he's doing this. I'm like, it's just a matter of time until he's gonna die. Like he's gonna die in the next 5-10 minutes, So I didn't, and then Jon was like surrounded by them, and then the dragon came in. I started to not care about the characters, or like I knew they weren't gonna die, kind of thing. I was also a little bit annoyed by.
It's not even like that you want them to die. It's just there's no tension.
Yes, that's the whole thing. Tension.
So if you're showing a scene where they're all in danger, but you don't feel any tension, then that scene is just. You're just waiting for it to finish.
How many times did we see Jaime fighting them off? He's got one hand.
Yeah.
I know he's a good fighter, but like he fought off all of those things with one hand. And they showed him up against the wall like 4 times.
Yeah, they really dragged out that final walk of the Night King. And I get it. It's like build a tension. Arya comes and saves the day. You can see what they're trying to do. And it's a good moment when I was watching. I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. But then it's like, you really didn't sacrifice a lot in this battle. And in terms of like the people who died, all of their stories were finished. They have nowhere to go. There's no questions they have to resolve. And that's the thing about Game of Thrones, is that people will die mid-story. People will die without having a resolution or a climax or satisfying ending.
Yeah, that's what's so surprising about it. And that's what makes you talk about it the next day and go, oh my God, how could they do this? Whereas this one, we were like, oh my God, that was a big battle. But like I've got a Game of Thrones Deadpool at work, but really I'm just like, there's a couple of people that died. I'll tick this off, tick that off, but nothing major. I was expecting to come in and go like, oh, who thought this?
Well, the problem now is that we predicted that maybe this is the episode where everything will happen with the Night King, and then there'll be 3 episodes wrapping up the final thing. But we didn't want it to be that predictable. Like, kill Sansa, kill Daenerys, kill Jon.
Yeah. Well, I was
and
also,
then we're like,
you,
what's going to happen?
You mentioned the crypt, like them coming out, and they were like killing everyone down in that crypt, but really they just showed us Sansa and Tyrion, and then they weren't even fighting. Like Sansa had the knife; she could have like done some stabbing, maybe got a little bit violent herself, but like that would have been shocking if like one of the things grabbed Sansa or Tyrion and got him down there, and maybe they played that towards near the end, and you're like, oh my God, like everyone upstairs is won, but like just at the end, one of the White Walkers like took Sansa or something.
Yeah, that would have been a great ending.
Yeah.
Or even if you do like something real sneaky, and it's like it's a human, a spy or whatever comes out. Because shit, that reminds me, wasn't Bronn supposed to come and kill one of them?
Yeah. Like I guess he's on his way, so he'll probably be in the next episode or so. But he's also up for bribery, so I can see him maybe joining their forces. I don't know.
It's just gone to the point now of like. The quality of the fight and the brilliance of the staging and lighting the trenches and them going up the wall, that is strong enough to make me think it's a good episode. But the fact that the story has now gone 3 whole episodes and gone nowhere is insane for the final season of this show.
Yeah. I think that's a really good way of putting it. It's like we're being clouded by this epic battle scene, which is Hollywood. You know, like we mentioned, it's filmed, looks spectacular. It was an hour and a half. It got the Guinness Book of Records for longest, fight scene and all that. So I think that's what people are talking about. But when you really boil it down, strip it back, what did people do? What actually happened? The Night King just got stabbed. It's pretty poor from that point of view. And another disappointing episode, just like 1 and 2 in a way.
Yeah, the thing with the big things, and this will be something we talk about with Endgame, is a great example of you can do a big thing, but if you actually make it feel and resonate, then it's okay, and people will look over the flaws. Whereas with this one, like I said, I first watched it, I was impressed. I was like, this is big, this is cool. But then the moment I came down off that and I had nothing emotional to hold on to, you just start picking it apart. You're like, why did this happen? Why did that happen? What? Yeah. Whereas if emotionally you're kind of like, if you care about something and something makes you feel, you're going to give it a pass on whatever it does. It can make no sense at all, but if it made you, happy, or it made you sad, or whatever it did, you're going to be like, hey, you know what? I know it makes no sense, but it was awesome. Whereas with this, it didn't make me feel anything. And after 3 episodes, it's like, oh shit, this is not going well.
Yeah. No, I think you're hitting a nail on the head there with that. The other character I just wanted to mention was Theon, and like, I guess I don't like him, but I guess I don't like him because he played him so well, because he's a dickhead. But I did think he went out really badly as well. He just ran towards the Night King with a spear like an idiot. And I know he was just like, that was his last-ditch effort. I did like Bran saying you're a good man and kind of like put all his crimes to rest type thing, but I just felt like that was a really bad way for him to go. I just thought he could have gone 2 ways. He could have gone a bit more heroic, or it could have been really nasty death, like maybe the Night King slices his face off or something. I don't know. But I don't know. I found that really, really weird. They kind of just finished him off really quickly as well.
The thing with that, like you said, the Night King, sorry to kill him. When I'm watching that scene, again, maybe I'm just a fucked up guy, the first thing that comes into my head was he's going to kill Theon, and they're going to take another like 30 seconds, and they're going to wait, and they're going to stand there as Bran watches Theon die, and then he's going to reincarnate Theon and make Theon kill him.
Oh, that's good.
That's the first thing that went through my head, because it was like, if you look at the way it was shot, it had this overhead shot of Bran and Theon, and then all the bodies. And then, like you said, he says, you're a good man. And I thought, the best thing that you could do right now is to make the Night King turn him into a monster to kill him, or at least help kill him, or something like that.
Yeah, that would have been great, actually.
Because to me, that's the exact point of the Night King, is he's the opposite of Bran. He is the evil to Bran's magic tree people, or whatever the fuck that weird little kid is now. I don't know. He's useless. He's useless.
And I know we're jumping around here, but when what does he do with his eyes? He's Gorgs or whatever.
Warg, yeah,
Wargs,
Warging.
Yeah. Like he was in a raven or a crow, and he just went off, and then he saw the Night King on the dragon. That was it. Like, that was so bad. Like, why did he leave like that? And then he goes, I'm gonna go now. And he's just like, didn't come back, kind of thing. Why did he include that? Why did he?
Yeah, to me, that was supposed to be the Lord of the Rings moment, that Hollywood moment. It's a good moment, but it's the one you have in these types of movies, where he goes off and you're going to have Gandalf riding down the hill with the Rohirrim. That's what I thought was going to happen. He's going to get into a raven, he's going to fly off, and he's going to convince somebody that we've forgotten about to come and help.
Right.
And they're coming over the hill, and they'll ride in, or they'll fight, or he's going to get help because he's the only one who can do it. Nope, nothing.
Just literally nothing.
Literally nothing. And it's like, if you were to explain to me that they were going to go, okay, 3 episodes, none of it's going to make sense, and we're going to have a lot of scenes that are just pointless, but we're going to take twice as long to write it, I would have lost my fucking mind. like, how does that work? You're taking a long break? Yeah, so we can, make the snow happen. No one gives a shit about the snow, mate. They give a shit about all these weird scenes that just stand out.
Yeah.
Here's another one that pissed me off. And this shows me this makes me wonder, at least, or at least shows off how there's pointless scenes. It's back to Arya. She has a good arc as a character, but that thing in the first episode where she shows the little drawing and we're trying to figure out what it is. Mm-hmm. And then in the second episode, we see what it is. And then in the third episode, she finally uses it. It's just a stick with spikes and she fights for 2 minutes with it.
I know. And man, it just goes back to Hollywood again. They just wanted to show this cool scene off where she goes Darth Maul on us, doesn't she? I think she kills the most characters on screen or something. Yeah,
the whole problem with those scenes is that they just do what's in front of you. Like, there's nothing else to them.
Yeah.
She needs to have a scene with the blacksmith, so she has a little thing. Can you make this? Bit of dialogue, then they have sex. There's nothing else to it. There's no special secret or nothing else that's going to come back later. Just makes the weapon because they needed a scene for them to talk.
Yeah.
And in the end, she doesn't even use like a special gadget that the blacksmith made to kill the Night King. It's a knife that she got way back in episode 1.
Yeah. She what was it? I wasn't too keen on her. When she got all like distraught and they were chasing her down the corridors. She was like in panic mode. Like, sure, that's fine, but she was in panic mode, and then literally after a little prep talk, then she was like, right, I'm off to kill the Night King now. It was just like a little bit too kind of from light to dark kind of thing. It was just they could have transitioned that a little bit more. Like, she was like super fucking worried and scared, and then she's like, oh, I'm gonna go off and kill the Night King now. So just a little. I didn't like the transition.
Right. I don't know what is going on that they decided Arya is going to be the solution. Because we might be wrong. Maybe it's going to be all a dream, and Bran's going to wake up in the neit's episode, and the real fight would happen. That would be awesome. By the way, if all of this was a dream, yeah. But it's what I mean is like, oh, she used the knife from the first episode. Oh, you got this callback. That's the knife that could have killed Bran, and blah blah blah. The story of the Night King is supposed to be separate and larger than the Game of Thrones.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like all these little things like the Starks and the Lannisters and who's doing it. It's supposed to be this huge, horrible thing that's 10,000 years in the making.
Right.
And it all gets destroyed because of a regular knife that a little girl has. And she's had, maybe a year of training as an assassin? She's not even like a top level assassin. She left the training.
It's true. And what was the main reason for him coming for Bran as well? Like, he wanted to get rid of Bran for, because he sent his whole army there. I mean, is he marching for Bran then the throne? Is that what his plan was, or just to
the myth of it was, that's what I mean. Like, this mythic proportions of the story is that Bran is the last, or he's the latest version of the Three-Eyed Raven. He holds all the knowledge that's ever happened. He's the memory of the world.
Right.
So the guy in the tree, that's the previous Three-Eyed Raven. They remember everything that's ever happened, every story, every legend. They are the memory of the world,
right?
Of the living world. If you kill the Three-Eyed Raven, all those stories are gone. All that knowledge is gone, and then the world will always be in darkness.
Right, got you. Yeah. Okay.
So if you kill Bran, then there's nothing left to remember. So if you kill everybody after Bran, that's the end of humanity.
Yeah.
There's nothing left.
Yeah.
So he was the key. So once you get him out of the way, then it's all just regular people that you have to
that makes
down.
Sense. That makes sense. Good things, like, I mean, I know we've talked about like how it was shot and stuff. The one scene that stuck out for me was Lyanna of Mormont when she got picked up by that giant, and then you could just hear her bones crushing as he's like squeezing her. But then she fucking pokes him in the eye. I thought that was a pretty awesome scene, actually. Yeah. And then later on, you see her as a white as well, don't you?
Yeah, she comes back.
Yeah, those are more
And
scenes that I wanted to see. I wanted to see characters and things like that, which meant more. Like
yeah,
just her,
it
like I said, her bones crushing like that. Yeah, that's what I wanted to see more of.
it's such a great moment as well when you get to have like your father or your best friend comes back and you have to fight him. Like when John had to fight all the dead people, if he had seen the other guy from the Black Watch
Oh
or the
yeah, of
Night Watch
course.
there,
Yeah,
and he has to fight him, like that
yeah.
would have just been a great moment of terror.
Mm. Yeah, I didn't
And
even think about that. Yeah.
there's so many things in this where it's like it's great. Like I said, it's a great overall battle, start to finish. But there's nothing in it to make you give a shit about anything that happens, and then all the little things kind of bog it down. Like, why did the dragons take so long to get back to where they were,
Mm.
and how did Daenerys get so lost in the snow, and why didn't they do this, or why didn't they have these kind of defenses? And you're just like, you guys didn't seem to put any effort into writing any of this. Not the story as a whole, and not the characters as a finish. They should have killed Jamie or Tyrion or somebody. They should have made it count.
Yeah, I think
You got
I think
3 episodes left.
as weird as it sounds, I think they were almost scared to. But it's like you're on the finish. You're on the finishing line. Like it's okay to do that. You don't have to worry about killing these characters. Like people are expecting it, and then also you've only got 3 more left, so it's fine. But I almost feel like they are kind of playing it like a movie, like Hollywood, playing it safe, and then near the last episode, oh, that's where people expect the Jon to die or Daenerys, but it's like kill them off randomly.
Yeah, that's the thing that makes Game of Thrones interesting, is that we should be guessing what's going to happen next.
Yeah, that's it. That's it right there. We've basically been predicting. I mean, not the whole shows, but we've been predicting what's happening, or as we're watching, we're like, well, this is going to happen next, and this is going to happen next, and that's not what you should be doing. You should be like
No.
gobsmacked, jaw on the floor. Oh, I can't wait to talk about this in the morning. Kind of thing.
They should have killed Jon even.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
The other thing that it doesn't make sense now is this whole, again, maybe they're going to fix the next episode. Maybe we're shitting on something for no reason, but it doesn't seem like that. From their previous 3 episodes, they haven't sold it. Jon was killed, spoiler alert, for like 2 seasons ago, and he comes back. And he comes back because he's the guy who has to help them fight the White Walkers. But if it's all just going to come down to Arya stabbing him with a dagger, like what are we doing? What was the point of Jon at all?
I know, and it's like it's almost like you said they haven't watched the last 7 episodes or 7 seasons. Sorry.
Yeah, and there's all those little things that you're kind of, it's anticlimactic. It doesn't hit the notes you want it to hit. There's no really great moments. Like one of the nice moments is in the crypt where Tyrion and Sansa like are holding hands, and they're like, all right, this is where we're going to die. And they don't say anything. They just look at each other, and like, that's a nice moment.
But you don't fear for them whatsoever.
No, that's the thing. If it had been a different show, or not a different show, but a previous season of this show,
then
you'd be thinking,
you would be. Yeah.
Someone's getting stabbed here. Tyrion might
I was
run
just
out
thinking
there
of a new ending there. Like I'm just thinking of these things as we're talking about it. But can you imagine the end of the show? It's like, they defeat him, and everyone starts disappearing and shattering, and then the last scene is they just cut down to the crypt, and like they're both dead. They were too late, and everyone in the crypt has died, but no one up above knows that. And then it's just a scene of like Sansa and Tyrion like mauled or something. And then you're at least like, okay, we got your happy moment with the Night King, but then you're like, holy shit, those guys just died.
Yeah,
little things
that
like
would have been awesome.
That's what we want.
Yeah,
we want little things like that.
The other thing, and I'm not going to spoil anything from Endgame for anybody who hasn't want to listen to that review of it, but one of the major things with Infinity War and Endgame was how well that they stuck people together that you wouldn't think go together. And from this episode, I don't know why, but nobody seemed to cross over past the kind of teams we already expected.
Right.
It was Arya and the Hound. It was Brienne and it was Jaime. It was Sansa and Tyrion. It was Daenerys and Jorah. there's nothing that made you have new characters interacting. Like, what if Jorah's out there getting killed and Daenerys is there? She's still trying to fight off the rest of these things, and Jaime's the one that saves her.
Yeah, that's true. Mix it up a little bit.
And that's what I mean about predictability. It's like you're cutting between predictable sets of people who we're not worried about, and you're trying to make us care about anything that's happening. And besides the spectacle, there's not much that I'm like giving a shit about here. There's no interesting dynamics. Like, let's take your ending. Your ending's a good ending. Sansa and Tyrion are dead. And then we have my bit where Jaime saves Daenerys. So that means we go into the next episode. Arya's going to tell Jon, you got to become the king. Sansa died for this. You got to take the throne. Then you got Jaime is now the protector of Daenerys, even though Tyrion is dead. And then you got to go and fight Cersei. What side is Jaime going to be on? Can you trust him? And then you have the Hound is going to be whatever.
Yeah, that already sounds like that already got me pumped. You just saying that right there.
That's the kind of show that we've been programmed to get. And that's why the final season, I said it before, it's like sticking the landing on this is so hard, and they're not doing it.
No, they're not.
Because it's those 7 seasons. We've learned what kind of show we want. We learned what kind of show to expect, the kind of characters to expect. And these 3 episodes so far are not the Game of Thrones that everybody knows and loves.
Yeah. I think that's a nice little summary of it. It's just not what we're expecting. They are predictable. And unfortunately, I don't see it getting any better. I think if this whole season's gonna end up like that. I do think the finale will probably mix it up a little, but hopefully they prove us wrong. But I think because this was supposed to be the biggest of them all, in a nutshell, visually awesome, but story-wise, not so much.
No. So for me, if we're going to do our predictions as we're doing each week, I would predict that they're going to go down. They're going to fight Cersei. Somebody's going to betray somebody else. Maybe Jaime's going to betray Daenerys, or the Hound is going to fight his brother, or something like that. And somebody's going to get stabbed. And then we're going to have the final episode will be Jon versus Daenerys for the throne.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm pretty close to that as well. Like, Hound obviously is going to fight his brother. I think they're going to head down. I think Bronn is going to shoot a dragon, probably take a dragon off one of them. This is one thing. They do have both the dragons, yeah? Cause
they have one dragon, don't they?
So I thought they had
the other
one,
guy's dead.
But that's what I thought. But then someone told me that they thought they saw him in like the trailer for the next one. But then I wasn't sure if I saw him in that though. But yeah. So I don't know. There could be 2 dragons, but I do think Bronn might either wound one or take one out, because we already seen him that he can shoot. And then also I think like Jaime will. I think it will be obvious that Cersei's got the bigger army. Like, they'll show off because now Daenerys' army is like halved or quartered or whatever. So they'll visually show that. They'll show like Cersei she's much more powerful. But then they'll have things like a dragon, obviously, maybe 2. But they'll have like Jaime. I think Jaime will be like, if we come round this side here, there's like a crypt here that you can get into the gates, and they'll do something like that. I do think the ending will probably be, you're probably right, Daenerys and Jon battling it out. I'm not sure who will kill Cersei, though. Do you think it will be Jaime?
I would assume it's going to be somebody like that. It's not going to be...
It better not be Arya.
Yeah, she's just going to have the whole thing. I don't know. I guess that's one of the things I can't really predict at this point, because... Yeah. But it's not in a good way. It's kind of like, what are they doing? Like, where are they going now?
Yeah. Well,
because we've gone 3 episodes. No major characters have died. Everything's playing out pretty, not generically, but straightforward. So we're just getting to the point of like, okay, we've got 3 people fighting for the throne. One of them's got a dragon. One of them's a bitch. One of them kind of doesn't even want it. And you're kind of like, I don't really care anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's hopefully they can pick it up, but it's not looking good so far. I'm still obviously going to tune in. We're all going to tune in, but
Yeah.
I don't want it to become one of those, like people talk about Lost, and like Lost went downhill and shit the bed. I want it to become that thing that people talk about, and it finishes at least decently. But right now, it's kind of shit in the bed, So because it's been good all the way up till now.
Yeah. The hope I would have is, like I said, the Night King is not dead. That's not the end of 8 years of storytelling. That's just a fake out. And we're going to have episode 4 is they're going to attack the Cersei's army. Cersei's going to retaliate and kill one of the dragons. Suddenly, the good guys are on the back foot. Episode 5, they're going to be like, okay, we're going to take the advantage. But then we see the Night King's back. And then episode 6, the Night King's there and he kills everybody and he wins. Or something. Something just unbelievably crazy to end it.
Yeah. He just wins, just like,
all
right, you're right, boys. Just back.
He reincarnates and goes like south and comes back up and brings back Khal Drogo so you can get a Jason Momoa
just get
cameo.
Back, Sean Bean as well, just for laughs.
Yeah, headless Sean Bean walking around.
All right, well, I think overall still a bit disappointed, but like I said, still going to watch the rest of them. Yeah,
my review basically sums up as entertaining but empty. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I think that's a fair analysis of it. Let us know what you guys think as well in the comments. We'll chime in there and see any of your theories. Who do you think is going to be sitting on a throne? Did you predict what was going to happen? Is the Night King really dead? So, but that was a good little review there.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I did my best there to be a prick.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys.
All right. Cheers, guys.